guys, it's Ron here. Gino's been around here for the last 45 minutes or so, and him and I are going to go grab a bite to eat at Bar Louie, and we're going to go check it out. Guys, number one thing that's getting me, Blanchard, good to see ya. Hope the connection's a little bit better this time. Number one thing getting me number one thing getting me replay viewers. Kurt's good to see ya, good to see ya. Replay viewers on Periscope, number one thing. It is the headline, and it's typically something like, 5 mistakes you don't want to make on Periscope, or 7 tips you should know, or 3 this, put the number in there. It's something where it's a list. It's something that's the same way that, same thing where you'd see a blog post or something with that type of headline, where somebody would read the comment and would do really well on Twitter. What's happening is if I do a scope, and typically if it's like 3, 4, 5 minutes, and I do it really quickly and people don't get around to it, what happens is that headline is strong enough that it ends up on... One person showed up. Okay, well, we can talk about that a little bit more. I don't know how many followers. Well, hopefully you're using Twitter, and then hopefully you press the button to actually have it go out to Twitter. And if you don't have it connected to Twitter, and you don't press the button to go to Twitter, and you don't have any followers on Twitter, that would make not very many people show up. So if you're doing all of those for starters, and you got the syndication part set up, and then what you're going to do is you got to have a good headline. So if it's 3 tips this, or 4 tag tribes in the house, exactly. So I put tag tribes in mine as well. That also, hashtag tag tribes makes a lot of people show up as well. So basically, we have, let people know that there's a lot of value coming. 7 tips, 5 tricks, 3 mistakes you don't want to make. Do some of that kind of stuff. As if somebody was going to read it later on as a blog post, those kind of headlines. It's like, I'll get to it or whatever. When I put that on Twitter with the tag tribes, what happens is, when I'm done within 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, what happens is I'll go back later, like an hour, 2 hours later, and lots of people will come on replays. Like back in the day, I'd get like 1 or 2 replays, and as weeks went on, I started getting like 5 or 6 people on replays. Now I'm getting to the point where I think I'm getting 10 or 12 or 13 or 14 people on replays. So that number just keeps climbing, and I know it's climbing because I keep doing these, and I keep putting out value-added content headlines. Area 51 over near Nevada, or where the aliens are, huh? I keep putting out the value-added headlines. Consistency gets people to come back to the replays. They're on another scope, or they're doing a scope, so they can get a chance to get to mine. So that'll get them to show up on the replays as well. But what I've noticed is where it jumped from like 4 to like 10 or 12 replay viewers was from the headline. If the headline is really good and people like look through their replays and they're like, yeah, I gotta make sure I go to that one. So again, we're gonna do some other scopes on headlines, but some people are just like, hey, hanging out at the pool, it's kind of cool. Or they'd be like, I'm sitting on my couch eating potato chips, or my friend just came over. Those headlines don't mean anything to anybody, so why are people going to jump on that? People are looking for value. So I got another scope coming up about that as well. A pause 30 seconds before a person showed up. You can thank people. Yes, there is absolutely, we can do another show on that sometime. I'm noticing about 20 to 30 second pause before the push notifications get to people. I'm actually noticing something more like 60 to 70 seconds until the biggest peak of people come in. And I like the number of 7. When 7 people show up in the bottom right there, when 7 people show up in the first 45 seconds, you got usually a winning headline. And if that number goes to 7 to 10 to 12 very quickly within like 60 to 75 seconds, that's the type of headline that is so good that you might even want to just find enough content to talk for an entire hour. Because there's so many people coming, it's like so many people coming on Periscope like every minute, that if you can imagine an entire 60 minutes in the refresh rate, think of how many people are going to see that headline. And if that many people click on it in the first 3 minutes, that many more people times 20 are going to click on it every 3 minutes for the next 60 minutes. So think about that, and that's why the headline is so important. And that goes into another future scope that I have coming up. So guys, really good headlines. Give people on Twitter 5 to 10 minutes to get to it, or 2 minutes to get to it, or 4 minutes to get to it. They might miss your scope, but then they'll hit the replay button. Okay, guys? But that is very Twitter, is very much Twitter, and it's very much to do with the headline. Okay, so also say some headline.